Well, there we have it, ladies and gentlemen. 25,000 fucking idiots, right, who can't tell the difference between Europe and the EU, right? There's clearly a difference between Europe and the EU. Most people understand this, but these people are marching for Europe and unite for Europe, right? Well, why? You should be marching for the EU or uniting for the EU, not for Europe, because we're not leaving Europe. We've never said we're going to leave Europe. We never wanted to leave Europe. Europe, we love. The countries, everything about Europe's lovely. It's the political union of the EU that we all hate. We all fucking hate being told by undemocratic idiots from over in Brussels what we should and we shouldn't be doing as a country. Because what's good for us as a country, it might not be good for Greece. And what's good for Greece as a country will not be good for us. It doesn't work. The countries are too different. The union is made up of too many different rich and poor countries with all different values and ideologies and agendas. So it can't work. This United States of Europe, whatever they want to create, can't work. It just physically won't. If they were all quite level countries, you might have got away with it. But as it stands, you can't. It's just ridiculous. It was a stupid, greedy idea. Anyway, that's my opinion on the EU. But this march, I mean, these people are fucking toxic, mate. I mean, they really are toxic. Look at these posters. Yeah. You know. And they think this shit's funny. I mean, you know. And Tim Farron, who's just about as useful as a fart in a spacesuit, he's just worthless, isn't he? I mean, his party is dead. Nick Clegg killed his party. The Lib Dems fucking wiped out in the last elections. Nobody cares what the Lib Dems think. He's tried his hardest to get back on the bandwagon with this, with the Remainers, and he's done all right with it, to be fair. But he's still an absolute. He's fucking worthless. All you ever see him doing, and I mean all you ever see him doing, is moaning and whinging and bitching about everything. No positives to anything, only negatives. Who wants to vote for a fucking sad sack like that? I mean, he's just pathetic. Anyway. And then this sort of stuff. I mean, look how toxic that is. So you're going to paint Nigel Farage as Hitler. I mean, come on. I mean, everything these days is Hitler, you know? It's like, I think there's even a name for it. Let me have a quick look. I think there is. I think it's, is it Godson's Law? Godson's Law, I think it's called. Let me just have a quick check. Godwin's Law, that's it. Godwin's Law. Godwin's Law. Godwin's Law, right, is an internet adage which asserts that as an online discussion grows longer and longer, the probability of comparison involving Hitler approaches. That is, if the discussion, regardless of the topic or scope, goes on long enough, sooner or later someone will compare someone or something to Hitler. Exactly. These people are comparing Farage, or anybody who disagrees with their views, any Brexiteer, as a Nazi, a Hitler, a xenophobe, a racist, a bigot, you know? Anybody who doesn't agree with their way of thinking, it's beyond belief, really. It's extremely toxic. And you can't debate with these people either. It's impossible. You either think their way, or you're a racist, or you're a Nazi. And I mean, and they don't realise that this is what's causing the division in the country. These people are the ones who are the divisive people. Yeah? If you have a different opinion to someone, you discuss it, you talk about it. You might not change your opinion, but you'll at least start to see their side of views. These people don't do that. They will never discuss or debate anything with anybody. They will just spout their bile at you, and if you don't agree, you're a racist, you're a bigot. I mean, it's pathetic, and this poster sums it up, really. And same with this arrogant cow holding it. You can see, you know what I mean? She's just a typical middle-class person who never really struggled with anything in life, hasn't lived at the bottom, hasn't been on the race to the bottom with all the jobs and the pressure on the job system and the jobs market. She doesn't have a clue, but she's going to stand there and preach at everybody else that we should be thinking the way she should. Ridiculous. Look at this guy's look at this guy's fucking banner with what, a bit of cane, and it couldn't even fucking fit on the page. Maybe he didn't know how to spell it. Brexit bad. Oh, Brexit bad. I mean, come on, dude. For serious, at least make a fucking effort. UK science needs the EU. That's another poster there. Looks like it took about 30 seconds to make. No, it doesn't. UK science doesn't need the EU. The British government have already promised to keep funding these projects when we leave the EU. So this is just, well, it's lies and bullshit, really. Dictator May. Can you see that one in the background there? Dictator May. So because Mrs. May's carried out the the wishes of the electorate who voted, the majority who voted to leave the EU, which she's doing, and I'm quite happy that she's doing a decent job, because she's done that and it's not in their way. Dictator. It's like everything else. Everything has to have a label with these people, with these liberals, with these idiots. You know, if you don't think their way, dictator, or it gets boring, doesn't it? I mean, you all know, you all see it every day. It's stupid. And I mean, look at this guy, the ultimate fucking hypocrite. Alistair Campbell, him and Tony Blair should be in jail for what they did with the Iraq War. And I'll bet half of the people on these marches, right, I bet they were crying out I bet they were marching against the war, Iraq War. I bet they were marching out against it. And now, all of a sudden, they love Tony Blair and Alistair Campbell because they're fighting their causes. These people are fucking hypocrites of the highest order. You know, they literally have no morals, none at all. They will jump ship to whatever suits them. People like Bob Geldof, he's cringeworthy, isn't he? And it's just not right. And there you go, and Nick Clegg, the man who ruined the Lib Dems single-handedly, who sold out for that little bit of taste of power in the government, and he just fucked everything up. The next time the Lib Dems went into election, they just got wiped out thanks to this fella. Well, you know, this is the way it goes. It's frightening, really. You've got these 25,000 people, and they're on a march for Europe, and they're conflating Europe and the EU. Now, I don't know if they're doing it deliberately or not, but if they're not, they're fucking stupid, because it's clearly a huge difference. And Brexiteers will tell you, most Brexiteers will tell you, we love Europe. Europe's a wonderful place. We're part of the continent. It's nice to be part of the continent, but we hate the EU. We hate the way the EU operates. We hate its policies. We hate the corruptness of the EU, including all the lobbying that goes on, which is appalling. You know, the protectionism that goes on in the EU. We don't want all that stuff. That's what we don't want. Yeah, and the open door policies. It's the people at the bottom that this affects. The working class people at the bottom of the chain. Hugely affects them. They're seeing their classroom sizes go up. They're seeing longer times in GPs, longer times in hospitals. They're seeing at the same time we're seeing all this, they're seeing cuts as well. You know, so what do they associate it with straight away? You know, the austerity cuts. We know that the government has no more money, right? The government hasn't got a penny more to give us. They can't, right? They're on the fucking breadline. They're struggling. They can't give us any more money to pay for any more infrastructure improvements. And at the same time, there's an open door policy. Well, that can't work, can it? Something's going to give somewhere, and this is where it gave. The Brexit people said, enough. We can't do both of these things. We realise there's no more money. There's nothing we can do about that, but we can try and control our borders. That's the one thing we can do. Right? We can close our borders, stop this race to the bottom, stop employers exploiting. Not just, I mean, they say that the British workers don't want to do the jobs. Well, that's bullshit. I mean, if you just go onto Google and look up some of these stories of the farmers exploiting the EU workers and some of the way the other EU workers are exploited, because these people are prepared to come here and just work, the employers are just taking the piss out of them left, right and centre, and it's awful. It really is. And if you just do a bit of Googling, it's not going to take you long to find and everything. There's so much of it. And it gets really annoying that they keep saying the British people won't do it. Yes, they will, right? You give them decent working conditions and decent pay, they'll do it, right? They'll do it. It's just that simple. People I don't think people want to be out of work. Most people would want to work if they could, but it has to be worthwhile. I'm not going to, and I don't blame them for if you're going to get £10 more for going to work every day than you would on the rock and roll, right? What are you going to do? You're going to stay on the rock and roll. You're not getting up every morning, dragging your ass out of bed for 10 quid. And I don't blame you in some respects. But at the moment, the wages have been deflated so much by the immigration, the amount of people, right? I mean, I know this personally because my missus is looking for a job at the moment, right? Just a basic 9-to-5 job, right? She applied for one the other day, just at a local company. She put a CV forward and it said there was 378 applicants for that job. Do you know what I mean? Now, my missus, we've got 2 kids, right? And she's not flexible like a lot of these people will be, especially the ones who've come from the EU just to work, you know, say there's 6, you know, I don't know, there's 2 or 3 people living in a house together and they're just sharing the bill so that they can make as much money as they can and send it home or take it home or save up or whatever. How can we compete with that? We can't, right? Because we've got mortgage to buy, we've got mortgages to pay, we've got bills to pay, you know, we're funding other things as well, you know. It's just impossible. It's impossible to compete with that kind of people, those kind of people in the job market. But these liberals and these middle class people, you know, and they're fucking the celebrities. Oh my god, you know, the people from the EU and stuff. They're not coming here to be fucking James Corden, are they? They're not coming here to be Gary Lineker. They're not coming here to be Lily Allen. They're coming here to work hard, right? Which I don't blame them one bit, by the way, right? They're taking the opportunity to move around Europe and go where the money is and earn a living, and I have no problem with them doing that. It just said it has to be controlled, you know. I'd rather have 100 doctors from India or from China or whatever than 100 unskilled labour migrants from Poland or whatever. You know what I mean? It needs to be right and controlled and done in a way that, you know, if we need engineers, recruit engineers. If we need doctors, recruit doctors. If we need nurses, recruit nurses. Yeah, or train your own up or whatever. But don't just leave the door open and for anybody to come in. It just can't work. It's just a failed system. Anyway, that's my personal rant. And this march is just an absolute mess of people who just seem to be, well, they're just on the bandwagon as far as I'm concerned. And a lot of them are very toxic, hateful people. Okie doke, I'll leave it there. Thanks for watching.